Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Teacher Luke and I am your Pinay IELTS teacher. Today we're going to talk about the basic information you need to know about the IELTS test. If you are someone who's about to take the test real soon, then you better tune in and watch the entire video because we are going down to the details. Alright? So, what is your IELTS test? Your IELTS stands for your International English Language Testing System. It is a worldwide standardized English test and it's accepted anywhere else in the world, most popularly in the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So if you want to work abroad, you want to study at a university, you want to take a professional regulation somewhere, or if you want to process your immigration, or if you want to get your permanent residency in the country, then the IELTS is one of the most popular English tests you need to take. You only need to be at least 16 years old with a valid passport to be able to take this test. And the validity of the exam result is for 2 years so that you could use that multiple times in any of your applications. So, one of the most popular question or one of the most asked question from me from the different people that I train with is what type of IELTS test should they take? Alright, so you have two types of tests. It's your general training and your academic test. And for you to find out, you need to know what you're going to use it for. If you are to take a secondary education, you want to immigrate or qualify for a permanent residency, or if you want to just experience or gain work experience and training programs in a foreign country, you definitely need to take your general training test. On the other hand, if you will be studying a post-secondary education in a university, so either that's college, bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, then you need to take your IELTS academic test. And if you are also a professional in your country, say for example a nurse in the Philippines, and you want to be able to practice that profession in the US, so that's what we call professional registration, you definitely need to take your IELTS academic test. So my tip for you is you have to find out which test you need to take. You can ask that from your consultant, alright, your immigration consultant, the school that you're applying for, or the work that's requiring you to take the IELTS. You need to find out because these tests are different from each other, and because it's expensive to take the IELTS test, you do not want to take the wrong one, alright? And what else? So, what can you expect on the day of your test? So the day of your test, actually 2 days. It runs for 2 days, the day 1 and the day 2. Your first day would be your speaking test, and your day 2 would be your written test, composed of your listening, your reading, and your writing test. Alright? Speaking test is quite short. It'll just be for 11 to 14 minutes. It's a face-to-face kind of test. There will be a IELTS examiner who will facilitate your speaking test. On your written test date, you will find a lot of people with you in the same testing room, and then this is kind of lengthier part of your exam. Since you'll be taking the 3 tests, it should run for about 2 hours 40 minutes, which could last about 3 hours given the time that they'll be giving you instructions in between your tests. Alright? Alright, what are the 4 subtests under your IELTS test? So there is the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. And this is structured so that you will be evaluated on your skill level per each of these subtests. They need to know that you are able to listen, to comprehend, to write, and to be able to communicate in English. So that's why there are 4 subtests in your IELTS test. Alright? The listening runs for 30 minutes. You'll be listening to an audio recording for once only. You cannot request them to pause, to stop, or replay it back. So while you're listening, you're looking at your questionnaire and you have to answer on the spot. Alright? There are 40 questions all in all. And then there are 4 sections, and it varies. Sometimes you'll listen to one person talking, sometimes you'll listen to like a couple of friends or classmates talking about something in the school or in the work setting. And while you're answering that, there are questions, alright? Or while you're listening, you're answering to the questions. Let's go to the next type of subtest, which is your reading test. This is for 60 minutes or 1 hour. You have 3 passages that you will read, and there are 40 questions for these 3 passages. Now, this is the type of test where you see the difference between your academic and your general training. The reading part on your academic are lengthier passages because you would expect that these are taken from journals, from books, from magazine clips, from history articles, something like that. So they're more on scholastic nature and they're difficult to comprehend. As compared to the reading test in your general training test, these are just daily life scenarios or workplace scenarios. So they'll be pretty much easy to understand and answer. Let's go to the third part, which is your writing. For me, this is personally the most difficult part of the IELTS test, simply because it's hard to get a high band score for the writing test. Now, this is also the part where your IELTS academic and IELTS general training would differ. Although both of them have 2 tasks, and both of them you have to finish for 1 hour, the writing task 1 for the general training is you are to write a letter. So sometimes you need to write a letter for a friend, your supervisor, your school professor. So there are different types of writing tests, and if you tune in to this channel, we will go through studying how to answer your writing task 1 for the general training test. On the other hand, the writing task 1 for your academic is a bit more difficult because you are presented with graphs, statistical data, charts, process diagrams, all right? So there's a picture on your questionnaire, and you have to summarize what you see. You have to describe that graph, that table, that chart. So both of these tasks, you have to write 150 words. It is recommended that you finish that within 20 minutes. Following that would be your essay or writing task 2. So it's similar for both IELTS academic and IELTS general training. So for the essay part, it is recommended you finish that in 40 minutes. You are to write 250 words, and yeah, that's it. You have to finish all of that, both the writing task 1 and 2, within 1 hour. The last subtest is your speaking part. For me, this is the easiest, this is the shortest or the fastest. Again, it only takes about 11 to 14 minutes. It goes in 3 parts. Part 1 is where you'll be speaking about yourself. All right, any general question like where do you study, what is your work, what favorite food do you want to eat, how is your relationship with your childhood best friend. So basic things about you, and that shouldn't be too hard to answer. The task 2 is, well, they'll be handing you over a task card or a questionnaire. It is written and it's in a physical copy, so you have to read it. You'll be given 1 minute to read it and prepare for your answer. And within that 1 minute, you're actually be able to use a pen and a paper to write down your notes should you wish to use that whenever you will begin answering the question. After the 1 minute is up, you have 1 to 2 minutes to explain your answers from the cue card. All right. Last part of your speaking test is your part 3. This is again a conversational type of exam. Your examiner will be asking you questions, kind of like the part 1. However, these have more abstract questions. So you'll find that they're a bit more difficult compared to part 1. All right. So among all of these tests, whether you take a computer-based test or a paper-based test, your speaking is always face-to-face. All right. I hope that's clear. Again, if you tune into our channel, we will go through each of these subtests in more details. All right. We're going to practice, have some drills, do some feedback. All right. So I hope you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell button. What to bring on your test day? You only need to bring your passport or the ID that you use to register or book your exam. So where do we book our exam? You can either visit British Council Philippines or IDP Philippines. In my case, I did it with British Council. And all you gotta do is choose a test date and then choose a venue where you want to take the test. Once that you've confirmed it, they'll be asking you to upload your passport and they will be leading you to a site where you can pay online. All right, as I've said, the exam costs around 11 to 12,000 pesos, kind of expensive. So I suggest for you to really prepare before you take this test. Once that you book your exam, you will be you could expect an email for the confirmation of this test. You need to print it and bring it with you on the day of your test. All right, so we are at the end of our discussion for today. I just want to share with you my experience taking the test with British Council Philippines. So you have to be there 30 minutes before the start of the exam. In fact, on that letter confirmation or that email confirmation that they'll be sending you after you book your exam, they'll also be reminding you to be early. And why is that? simply because they have a verification procedure. You'll be asked to provide your passport, they will check your identity, they will take your photo, and they will take your fingerprint. So these are parts of the procedure for them to ensure the authenticity of your test result. So there is no way that you can cheat or you can ask for someone else to take the exam for you. All right, you could bring your belongings. However, you'll be asked to put them in safekeeping at the storage area or locker area designated for test candidates. All right, you may bring a water bottle with you inside your testing room. However, make sure that it does not have a label. So in other words, it's a clear water bottle. You do not need to bring pencil or eraser if you take the paper-based test or computer-based test. Everything that you need to take the test will be provided for you. Now, in all parts of the exam, you need to listen carefully to the specific instructions of the exam facilitators. If you want to go to the restroom in any time of the exam, all you need to do is raise your hand. You will be accompanied by a facilitator. Now, take note, during the listening part, you are not allowed to go to the restroom because you'll only be listening to the audio recording once, and so you're not allowed to leave. Alright, of course you already know this. In any exams we take, it is not allowed for you to use your cell phones or any gadgets. Bringing this in your testing room would have repercussions. I guess you will be banned from taking the IELTS, or you get a 0 for that and you cannot refund your payment. Alright, this is interesting, guys. Their passport should be on your table on the day of the test. They will be inspecting it from time to time because it is still a quarantine in the Philippines, so you'll be wearing your mask. If they go to you and they want to check your passport, they'll be asking you to put your mask down just for them to check your identity, okay? And this is very important. Number 10, you are not to miss any day of your test. Some people think that if they miss test day 1, they could just proceed with test day 2 and rebook for test day 1. That is not possible. They come in set. So if you miss any test day, they won't allow you to take the remaining tests that you could still take. All right. And unfortunately, they will not refund for you or refund the amount that you paid. The only time that a British Council can refund you, I'm not sure with IDP, but for British Council, the only time they would do that if there is a national emergency, say for example like quarantine or lockdown, and you want to cancel the exam, they can refund you for the full amount. You can also request to reschedule your test date. Say for example, if something comes up or you're not yet ready to take the test, you can do that provided you reschedule 5 weeks before your test date. I think you could still reschedule that even if you are closer to your test date. However, you would need to pay for a fee. All right. Lastly, on the day of your test, once you sit on your designated table, there will be a verification slip on your table. It contains your name, your registration number, your candidate number, and you will be needing that through the entire test because you need to copy some information there and write it on your answer sheet if you're taking the paper-based test. And then you need to take this home because as soon as your IELTS results are available online, you need the information from that slip as well. You can just enter the details and then you can check what grade or what's your score from your IELTS test. Alright, since we're talking about exam results, you all know that the validity of your IELTS test is for 2 years. You can expect the result after 5 days if you take the computer-based test, and you can check it after 13 days for the paper-based test. You can just go online to either British Council or IDP to check the result of your test. However, the official test report form is a printed copy of the IELTS test. This will be mailed to your address, so make sure that when you register for the test, it is the correct address. All right, you'll only be given one test report form, and this is what you have to scan and submit to schools or to your visa application. All right, so what I suggest for you to do is once you receive your physical copy, to scan it right away so that you do not lose it and you have a safe copy kept in your storage. All right. Additionally, you can still request for another test report form if you lost it, but they'll only be just sending you one last copy. All right, so that's it, guys. I hope you were able to learn something from our discussion today. You were able to get a general idea what to expect from your IELTS test. If you think that I miss out on any important detail, please comment down below. Please let me know what you think about this matter. If you have any questions for me, all right, I appreciate that. Please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button. I'll be dropping a lot of lectures, tutorials, coaching, feedback, drills, practices, tips and tricks, anything under the sun when it comes to your IELTS test. So make sure you do not miss on my important video drops, alright? So I hope to see you again next time, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Teacher Luke once again, your Pinay IELTS teacher. Bye!